Hi, everybody. We've been talking a lot about IPOs lately, but we're going to be discussing about an ongoing NFO. Now, before I get into the details, some of you might be wondering what exactly is an NFO, a new fund offer. NFO is how an asset management company or a mutual fund company launches a new fund on a first subscription basis for financing its purchases of the securities. And today, we're going to be looking at ICICI Prudential Small Cap 250 Index Fund, which is already ongoing. Now, to take this ahead with us, we have Mr. Chintan Haria, who for the last 16 years has been the head of product development and strategy at ICICI Prudential Asset Management Company Limited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Right. So now, my first question here, a lot of investors are aware about IPOs because it has, kind of gotten a lot of traction in 2021. However, when it comes to NFOs, there is still a vent in terms of understanding the basics of an NFO. So would you like to kind of help our investors understand what is an NFO just in brief?
Okay, sure. So maybe before we go into the NFO itself, I'll step one back and explain how is it different for investors. They're used to investing in equities in general directly, right? But mutual funds are a pooled vehicle wherein many investors invest in a mutual fund scheme, and then the asset manager manages the scheme on behalf of the investor. So as part of the bouquet of offerings which a mutual fund has, there are many new offerings which keep coming out at different points of time, which is called the new fund offer. So new fund offer essentially is similar to a initial public offering in an equity stock. A new fund offering is in a mutual fund. That's how it is. Mutual funds keep on regularly coming out with new investment options for the investors, and that is what we call an NFO.
Right. A very good and an easy way for the investors to understand that. Thank you for that. Now, moving ahead, could you help us provide the details of this particular fund that we're talking about today? For example, the NFO period, the load structure, etc. All the small details that investors need to know.
Sure. So, as investors are aware, within the mutual fund space, there are active funds wherein the fund managers are taking active calls on behalf of the investors in the fund, depending on the scheme objective. So, if it's a large cap fund, the fund manager will allocate in large cap stocks up to 80% or minimum 80% and decide. Then there are passive funds, which are called exchange traded funds and index funds. I think from a global trend as well as a local trend, if we see, passive investing is growing among investors, especially ETFs, exchange traded funds, and index funds. As part of the bouquet of our existing ETF and index fund offerings on the passive side, we are expanding it and bringing to investors the ICICI Prudential Small Cap Index Fund, which essentially is a simple index fund which is replicating the entire 250 stock underlying index which is there. So an investor in small units now, for example, an investor would probably buy 3 or 4 or 5 small cap stocks as part of the portfolio. Here you're getting the entire 250 stocks as an index, as a single investment. And the good part is you can do it with as low as rupees 100. So for an investor perspective, you don't have to pick and choose because you may not necessarily know which stock is good or which stock is not. But here you end up basically getting the advantage of getting the entire 250 stocks in one single fund, and you can do it with as low as 100 rupees. You can do systematically investing in that, as well as you can do lump sum based on your overall risk profile.
Got it. I think this makes it absolutely very easy for an investor to kind of enter in an NFO which is designed in that manner. Having said that, my next question was almost very similar to what you just said. What are the benefits of investing in a small cap index fund? But anything else that you want to add to what you just said?
Sure, of course. So, see, the index funds, of course, as an entity, and you can just do it very simply on the digital medium. It's quite easy to invest these days, sitting in the comfort of your home. And also, there are no exit loads or entry loads, so there is no restriction, there is no lock-in, so you can invest at any point of time. You can take out your money at any point of time without any loads. So that's the advantage of index funds. And from a benefit to the investor perspective in the small caps in general, right? You do not necessarily know which one will do well when. So a basket approach in small cap is something which is fruitful for the investors, which is sensible for the investors. And what better basket than having the entire 250 stocks in the same proportion for you to as an investment destination. So for most investors, we believe if they are looking at investing in the small cap space, investing via the small cap index can be one of the options which they can choose, especially when markets are depressed. So of course, right now markets are on the high and they have done very well. But if markets are depressed and you want to participate in the small cap space, you get 250 stocks in one go. That's the biggest benefit. It is transparent. It is low cost. So index funds, because there's no fund manager involved in general, have low cost. They are cost competitive relative to active funds. Also, they keep on getting rebalanced every 6 months. So new stocks keep coming in, old stocks will go out if they have become smaller. So the investor does not need to do anything on their part. It is the fund manager who is basically mimicking the index. So these are some of the benefits. You know exactly where you're getting into, and you're not taking, let's say, any risk on what the fund manager will choose, how much will the fund manager choose. You're getting the entire index in its entirety. And if I have to expand on the index itself, which probably will be a question which will come ahead, but I'll take it up right now. The index is made up of 250 stocks, which are essentially the 251st by market cap to 500 by market cap. As you're aware, in India, the large cap universe is first by market cap to 100. So 1 to 100 by market cap is large cap. 101 to 250 by market cap is considered as mid cap. 251 to 500 is considered as small cap. So this particular fund, index fund, will allow you to participate in the entire 250 stocks. And the good part is there is no stock concentration. The largest stock in this is about 2.2%. So 2.2% is the largest stock. And sectorally also, there is a good diversification. The largest sector being financials, followed by, I think, information technology and industrials. So financials is about 17%, industrials about 12%, IT is about 14%. So you have that kind of a breakup which is there. The methodology, etc., is available on the exchanges or on the websites for you to see. But the biggest advantage is there's no stock concentration, so it is diversified. No single stock will end up, probably hurting you if something goes wrong. And the sectoral diversification means you're getting to participate in many of the sectors. And in small caps, that is important because India is growing, and with the growth of India, many stocks or sectors can do well. So you're getting some stocks across many sectors, which is good for your overall portfolio balance.
Right. Also, from what you said, I understood that because of the diversification that has been happening in these funds, the risk of the investor also minimizes to some extent.
Correct.
Right.
So that happens, yes.
Yeah, please go ahead if you want to.
So the risk essentially is diversified, like you mentioned. So small caps in general have a higher risk because they are meant to be smaller companies. They'll have lesser liquidity. They have more volatility, and hence they would end up giving you higher returns. So last 1 year, if you see, small cap space has given the highest return. The reverse is also true. When the market goes through a downturn, small caps go through a bad time, they fall the most. And it is at that time that you should accumulate the maximum amount. So from a portfolio balance perspective, you may start with a smaller allocation right now. And then whenever the market gives you an opportunity in a fall, you should be able to add more at that point of time. Eventually, then you will be able to, create wealth within the small cap space.
Right. Now, since we're talking about the volatility that comes in the market, and along the way, it is believed that small caps have kind of a higher volatility in comparison to large caps. How would you kind of respond to this perception that people or investors out there have?
Yes, it is true. If you look at large cap, by definition, what is a large cap? It is an established company. It has an established business. The management track record is there. Then there is, of course, the size is also there. Normally large caps are the leaders in their business. They are the largest. So any upturn in the market, they're able to capture. Any downturn, they'll be strongest balance sheet, so they'll be able to withhold. In small caps, what happens is they're generally single product companies to start with, or they will have a single geography in which they are participating in. So they start small. And when you are small, or when you have only a single product or geography, imagine that if something goes wrong in that geographical environment in which you are working, if something goes wrong in the product in which you are working, right? So a larger company, it won't matter because they have multiple products generally, so they are managing. But if you are in a single product and that product probably goes away, you end up taking a beating as a small cap company. Hence, they are more volatile. So small caps, by definition, are considered more volatile because their businesses are more susceptible to economic downturns as well as stock-specific events which can happen. And hence, it is important to diversify. And that's where, for 9 out of 10 investors, having a diversified approach by investing in small caps through the small cap index fund would
Right.
eventually end up being more beneficial than trying to pick and choose those small caps. Some of them do well, some of them may not. But a basket approach via the small cap index fund will probably fit your investment uh, balance very well.
Got it. Now, besides volatility, what are the other kinds of risks that investors, need to keep in mind before investing in a small cap index fund?
So if you look at the risks, clearly you mentioned volatility, higher drawdowns. In other words, when markets go through a downturn, because small caps are less liquid, they end up normally having a higher impact cost. If you try to sell, they probably go on lower circuits. There are circuit filters, so you're not able to sell. These are some of the challenges which you will find in the index fund. Hence, the tracking errors of the index fund also are higher. Tracking error, just as a definition, it's a technical term. So, for the benefit of your investors, I would like to explain that the small cap index of 250 is replicating or endeavoring to replicate the index, which has 250 stocks. But the index does not have circuit filters. But when we are actually executing for you, there will be circuit filters. So the real market dynamics will be different. Hence, the returns which you will get in the fund may slightly be different from what you get for the index, which is called as the tracking error. The difference between the index returns and the fund returns are known as the tracking error. There are many reasons why tracking errors happen. It could be basically rebalance related. It could be related to, like I said, if something is in lower circuit, we won't be able to sell. If something is in higher circuit, we won't be able to buy. So these challenges are higher in a small cap index fund. Hence, investors should know that there may be a slight more tracking error. But in the larger scheme of things, if you hold for the long term, this basically kind of takes care of its own self without investors having to worry too much about it. And of course, as an advice, I would like to tell investors that small cap space cannot be a very large part of your overall equity allocation. As such, Indians are generally conservative and don't have a very high equity allocation. And within that, if you end up having a higher allocation to small cap, especially when they have done so well, you probably will end up having pain when the markets fall. So just be careful. Last 15, 18 months, we've not seen markets give let's say, a negative reaction or haven't seen a fall. And many investors can then tend to forget the risk measures that they need to take. So just keep those things in mind and you should be fine in terms of your investment journey and wealth creation through equities.
Got it. Okay. Now moving ahead, could you help us understand the differentiator between, how is this small cap fund that we're talking about different from the other small cap funds that we have in the market?
Sure. So sticking to the small cap space itself, in the small cap space within the mutual fund industry, you have active funds where the fund manager is buying and selling the small caps which the fund manager likes. There, the restriction is minimum 65% has to be in small cap. The balance can be in large cap or mid cap, right? So the active fund has to have minimum 65%. The balance can be had in large cap, mid cap. However, the small cap index fund will at all points of time have only small cap. It's a pure play. It will mimic the index. So that's the biggest differentiator. In an active fund, the fund manager can go right, can generate alpha, can give you higher returns than the benchmark. And the reverse is also true. If the fund manager goes wrong, then your returns can be lower than the benchmark. So we would believe that having a combination of let's say, the ICICI Prudential Small Cap Fund, which is on the active side, and having the ICICI Prudential Small Cap Index Fund will probably work well for the investor, because some years the active fund may work well, some years the passive fund may work well. So it's a complementing approach which we believe will work well for the investors rather than one over the other. And from a comparison perspective, of course, again, the expense ratio of the active fund will be higher because there the fund manager is trying to generate alpha and is involved, while in the passive fund, we're just mimicking the index. So expense ratios will be lower. In a passive fund, you have 250 securities. The small cap index fund has 250 securities. Generally, an active fund will be anywhere between 50 to 80 securities or 40 to 80 securities, depending on how the fund manager wants to structure the portfolio. So those are the differences which are there between the various options which are available. There are other small cap index funds also in the market which are available. So this is something which investors should know, that it is a trend in India in terms of the offerings that are there. And this is addition in our overall portfolio basket. Thank you.
Got it. All right. Moving ahead to the next question, which I think is a bit generic here. Now, what according to you is the risk versus the opportunity balance in the market currently right now?
Clearly. So let's look at some of the numbers. In terms of market cap to GDP, we are at about 125, 130% versus a long-term average of 100. So it is higher than long-term average, which is true for the rest of the world as well. If you look at America or United States of America, there the market cap to GDP as a ratio is more than 200%. So globally, because of the easy central bank liquidity after the pandemic and lower interest rates, equity markets have gone through a very big re-rating on the upside. Valuations have gone higher. Also, metals like aluminum, copper, zinc, they have gone higher. If you look at the real estate sector in India, it is bouncing back. The sales are improving. That's also true globally. Real estate prices in America, Hong Kong, etc., are much higher, or they had touched peaks much before. So it is essentially a reflation trade. It's an inflationary environment in which we are, which is what is causing this rally in the global market. So we should be aware of that.
Right.
Global growth is there. The Indian growth also in line with what's happening globally is there. So the risk reward, if we may say, because interest rates are low, are there. But because last 15 months have been so strong in terms of returns, we would strongly advise investors to have at the core portfolio level balance advantage funds as a category in their portfolio, and
Right.
then build and have a smaller allocation to small caps and probably build over a period of time to systematic investment plans. That's how we would probably advise investors. That currently, of course, there are risks to the market as well because of the sharp rally, but for the risk there are also potential let's say positives, like a good growth story developing in India. So we don't know whether next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, India will grow. I mean, India will keep growing at what pace? But what we know is that India is one of the best destinations globally in terms of equity investment. So there will be volatility. Take advantage of that volatility, and whenever markets do correct, keep space to average on the way down, and don't be afraid when the market gives you discounts. So currently there's discount sale happening for the consumption perspective, and people are spending a lot in the discount sale. But when the market has discount sale, don't run away from the market. That's the time when you actually should increase your investments in the equity markets.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Now, moving ahead, since we were just kind of discussing that, you just mentioned that since the last 15 to 18 months, the market hasn't really seen a kind of a major fall. Now, at this juncture of the market cycle, what would you suggest the investors to pick, a lump sum investment or an SIP investment? What do you think would be more suitable?
Right. So if you look at in general over the last 1.5 years, we have seen Indian investors increase their investments in equities. We have seen demat accounts growing from 5.5 crores in March 21 to 7 crores. I think 1.5 years back, they were as low as 3 or 3.5 crores. So the interest is increasing, which is a good sign. But from an investor perspective, we would highly recommend that you should know your asset allocation. As part of your asset allocation, you should have equity, debt, and gold also. Gold is a forgotten asset class these days, but gold ETFs also should be a part of your portfolio. And as far as investment in this fund is concerned, whether it should be lump sum or SIP is something which an investor would decide basis how exposed they are to the market. We would say having an SIP is something which would probably work well given where the starting point of the market is. And a lump sum investment, whenever there is a correction, can help the investors participate at a cheaper valuation in small caps.
Got it. Okay. Now, which kind of investor is this particular scheme best suited for, and what is the investment horizon an investor should, kind of keep in mind before investing?
So the investment horizon in general has to be long term for any equity investment. Minimum 3 years is what we would say, unless you are time like March 2020 where everything becomes so cheap that even with shorter term investment horizon, you end up getting a good return. But currently, if we see where the market is, at least a 3 to 5 year investment horizon is important. However, if you need some extra alpha, so there are investors who are risk takers, there are young investors who want to take a risk, who are investing in small cap, mid cap in the market directly.
Now, just one final question before we close the interview. What is the total AUM that you're looking at for this fund?
So it's difficult to predict, to be honest. The idea is not to have not to focus on the AUM. The idea is to have the product for the investors to participate in. Typically, index funds and ETFs as an AUM, they start small and then they keep building as the investors keep investing. So there's no specific target in our mind, of course.
Right.
But what should be the target in the investor's mind is where their asset allocation should be, and based on their asset allocation, how much they can invest. And most important, they should have ability to average when the market's correct. because equity markets don't always go up in a straight line, right? They have more volatility. In the long run, they'll be higher because as the economy grows, the companies grows, the profitability grows, market caps grows. That's fine. But in the short run, they can be high and low. But last 15 months, that has not happened. So I would again tell investors that keep space to invest when the market's correct, while you can participate right now in a small manner and then build over a period of time for long-term wealth creation. Thank you.
Got it. I hope that by now all the potential investors must have gotten all the information that they require, to invest in an NFO that is coming up, which is the ICICI Prudential. But at the end, thank you so much, Nitin, for joining us. We do wish you all the very best for your NFO. Thanks a lot once again. Thank you.
Thank you, and wishing all your investors a very happy Diwali and a good festivities. Enjoy yourself. Thank you. Bye.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.